Okay, good evening. I'm Gary Jackson from Qlik Hong Kong, but I am in Tokyo, Japan. Tonight is going to be the last session that we have. The third out of three sessions we've had to try to help all of you as students trying to finish up your Qlik KPMG Risk Insights prototype. I've talked about in the last two sessions. The first session was how to build an extension in a manual way, how to create those extensions. I also talked about how to use FTP to push your Qlik app that you've created for your prototype, which I think we walked through that. And then yesterday we talked about how to integrate predictive analytics with your app that you built using R. I talked about a product called Alteryx. I also showed how to use QlikView in R. I even showed how to, in a rough way, how to bring SAS data sets in through R that you may have run some SAS statistical models against and bring them into Qlik Sense. So today is probably the easiest part. We're going to build a website. So using Qlik Sense is pretty easy to build in applications. What if you want to go a little further and you want to build an application that basically, that you want to embed on a website so other people can use and share and that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to be focused on today, which I'm pretty excited about. So with no further ado, I want to go ahead and get started. And hopefully we'll be able to finish this thing up because no one really wants to spend their evenings except for me, of course, their Thursday evening doing a Google Hangout and a technical chat about web mashups. They would rather enjoy the evening and the night air. So with that being said, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to start sharing my screen and we'll get this thing started. So as always, everything I'm going to be talking about today will be replayed and rebroadcast on this website, insights.qlikenterprise.com prototype. It'll be here, how to build a Qlik Sense web mashup. That's what we'll be doing today. As I'm about to get started, I wanted to kind of position to you something a little different. I know that a lot of you are going to be doing your prototypes, and the prototype submission will be happening over the weekend and on Monday. And of course, people, as I usually do, I always wait to the last minute to submit something. Here's another idea for you, and this is using Qlik Cloud. For those people who want to submit something and they don't want to push something to FTP, they just want to push their app up. If they don't have a lot of new extensions they built, you basically use some basic data that you can use Qlik Cloud. So for example, here's Jane. Jane is one of the students that basically is doing a project for this competition. And basically, I'm not going to go through it, but she actually shared the link with me. So what I wanted you to make sure is if you want to share this link with me, or if you built a Qlik Sense app or for the competition and you don't want to FTP it and zip everything up and do all of that stuff, not a problem. All you got to do is if you find an app that you've uploaded and you want to share it with me, all you got to do is click on the share button. And then all I need you to do is, this is the name I want you to put, Gary.Jackson@qlik.com. Now, send a copy yourself just in case. I'm not going to hit send because I'm already myself, so I don't want to share it. But make sure you use this name, Gary.Jackson@qlik.com. It will link it to my cloud account, and I'll be able to, all of us actually, all of the KPMG, the Qlik, all the judges will be able to go in and see your apps. Is this a prerequisite? No. It's nice that all you have to do is upload your app into the cloud so you can use it, but it's not mandatory that you can do this. You can still use the FTP location. And of course, if you don't remember how to use the FTP location to submit your prototypes, just a really quick recap, all you got to do is you go basically insights.qlikenterprise.com. Let's look at that. Insights, So you're basically going to go Qlik Insights is the username. You're going to be going to Qlik Enterprise and then username, password. I will be showing that in my email tonight on how to do that. Okay. Now, with all that being said, now what we want to do is we want to take an app that we built or created, and we want to basically put it into a website. Now, know that Qlik Sense Desktop as we see it here, Qlik Sense Desktop is free. It is free to build and create on your desktop, and it is free to create on a website that is on your desktop. If you wanted to push this to a server without paying for it, that's where the cloud component comes in. So you can actually push your app to the cloud, but you have to share it with the people that you want to use it. And of course, every time you update your app, you'd have to delete the app from the cloud, re-import it up to make sure it works. That's not how this is supposed to be. Actually, in fact, what you should be able to do is take these apps, build it on your desktop, build a prototype website, like using a web server that you have on your computer, your laptop. Make sure it works. Then you push it to the server, and then the server, you just go into you go to the link. So, for example, if I go to, I'll tell you a great server is just being able to go to go here, demo.qlik.com. Demo.qlik.com is basically a Qlik Sense server. It's also a Qlik View, but a Qlik Sense server. And all I got to do is go to the link here, and then I click on my apps, and then I can click away. Now, what this is doing, though, just to make sure it's very clear, this is basically, we're not, yes, I am sharing my apps here. So this is my app. And if I launch this, I can interact with the app. But what if I just want to take a piece of this part of the app and take a piece of this part of the app and embed it on a website? I don't want the entire app. Like, for example, I'm looking at a dashboard here. I don't want the entire sheet. Maybe I just want to be able to do average case resolution. Or maybe I just want open cases embedded on a website. For example, what am I talking about? See this, we basically, here is a very good web embedded mashup. And what we're doing here is we're basically using an app that we've created that is directly fed by a data source called Salesforce. So I basically built a very basic website. Let me go back to dashboards here. It looks like a regular website, but behind the scenes, what we're doing is we've embedded Qlik Sense in it. And you can see that the interaction with it's very similar to just using a basic website. So I can go to dashboard, I can go to opportunities, I can go to accounts. I can basically choose. Say I want to look at media, and then media shows for Brazil and that kind of thing, and then I can clear selections. So you can see that I've embedded this on a website. If you want to see the actual app, here's the app that I'm using. Here's my Qlik Sense Salesforce app that I'm having, all the components that I have. You'll notice that I have, these are all the sheets that I have: dashboard, trends, ops, accounts, product, sales, a region. And then I can actually go through and use the application freely. This is not embedded on a website, so it's just purely the app, which is very nice. So there's even what we have, a data story that's attached to this. So here's the data story for this app that I built. It's missing some images, not a problem. But basically, I'm showing who's my best sales performer for using Salesforce information and data. So here's the app, here's the website. So how do we do this? How can you take an app that you built and put it on, a website? Pretty simple, actually. Once you've started Qlik Sense, and this is the key word there, once you've started up Qlik Sense Desktop, you can go to your browser and you can type in, and I'll just type it in for us, localhost 4848, and then what I'm going to do is Workbench. So Workbench is a way that you can actually create extensions. I know on Tuesday I showed you the manual way to do it, but this is actually a very easy way that you can actually update and configure and change and create D3 WebGL extensions if you don't want to write code, or if you just want to copy and that kind of thing. But it's also, most importantly, where you can create what we call a mashup. A mashup is a combination of a Qlik Sense app with a Qlik Sense app with an embeddable website. So how do we do this? What we're going to do is I just went to localhost 4848 Workbench. I'm going to say create new, And basically what I want to call this, let's call this Salesforce. And then what I want to do is see the templates here. They have the different templates. Some of the templates is visualization template, chart template, list box template, table template. We don't care about the visualization. We care about the mashup. Notice here we have a basic mashup that does absolute positioning. Don't have to worry about the absolute positioning part. We're just going to call it Salesforce, and we're going to do a create. Now, the next thing is we're going to go into Salesforce. We're going to click on it. And we're going to do an edit. Now we're in the actual Workbench editor. And what I need to do is I'm creating a website now, and I'm going to choose the app that I want to feed the website. So I'm going to use Salesforce QVF. That's the file there. And look at all the visualizations I have here. I have a lot of different visualizations. And if you don't know what they are, you can always hover over them. And basically the data kind of shows up as I hover over each one of these visualizations. Here's another thing too. Notice it says selections bar. So what I can actually do is I can click on this. Notice that the selections bar shows up on top. That means if I create a website and deploy it, the Qlik Sense functionality of being able to do green, gray, and white, to be able to choose selections by association will show up easily. So what I'm going to do is I just want to be able to pick over a couple of things. Also note that in your, if you have brought in over a Qlik Sense app, what you can do here is it actually allows you to be able to bring in snapshots. So you can embed snapshots into your mashup if you wanted to. We're also going to show by the end of this too how you can take a data story and embed that into a website. So if you wanted to present your prototype as a website and you have a data story that you can use to show your prototype, we'll show you how you can do that. But for this case, all I'm going to do is do some basic stuff. What I want to do is look at, let's say, top 3 pending opportunities. I'm going to put that there. Then what I want to do is, what is this one? We're going to see, let's see if we've got average deal size trends. Okay. And then let's see, opportunities summary. Bring that here. And then let's say top 10 countries. And then let's scroll down, some other spaces here. Let's say I want to do product rate. And down here, I'm just going to put sales rep average closed. So what I've just done right now is I basically have dragged and dropped components of my Qlik Sense app into a website. Now, how do I know I brought it into a website? When you go into the Salesforce.html page, when I've created this thing, you'll notice that in this little section, you don't have to be an HTML coder. I just wanted to show it basically has put the QB objects into this location, and it's basically called it in by name. These are the objects and their names that we're bringing in, and they basically are able to bring that information in. So we're going to do that. Do Salesforce.com. There's our Salesforce thing. Now what we've done, we've actually created basically a mashup. Now what we want to do is let's view this. So if I click on view, notice that it looks just like a Qlik Sense app if I wanted to. So I basically can say I want to just choose France, and then I want to look at product rate. And notice it's a website. I can copy this. I can put it anywhere. I can bring it up. Let me bring it up in Internet Explorer, which I have to be on public record for it. It's one of the worst browsers I've ever used in my life. So, let me see. We'll do this. So you can see very easily that I can just put this website in and I can use it anywhere, embed it on a website, show some components, all of that things, which is not too hard. It's pretty easy. Didn't have to write any code. Basically all I did was I just used the Workbench created this. It created the JavaScript, created the Salesforce HTML, saved it in for me, and I'm able to use it. Now, what if I wanted to create, oh, and let me also share you where this lives. Where this is being built is, if I go into my Windows directory here, and I go to my documents, and I go to my Qlik Sense, and then I go to my extensions, you'll see here I have a directory called Salesforce. So it created this Salesforce directory. There's my, remember what we did on Monday? We talked about the Q extension, and we talked about HTML and the JavaScript. You'll see they're all living here. Everything's resident and living inside this directory. So that's where everything's kind of going. Now, what if I wanted to build like a kind of a cooler looking website? Let's say, for example, here's a website that I built up, and I want to make sure it is correct. Let's say show. So here I built a website that looks very similar to a regular website. It basically has like a little branding image at the top, a header, has a, basically a link to be able to take us to the Qlik website if I wanted to. You'll notice it's just taking a little time to render. And then what I can do is, let me go back. And then I have my components. So my components are configurable. I can do like this. Pretty easy, actually. So what we got to do is, if we go into this mashup, and then you do a edit, you can see what it's done is, if you look at this mashup.html, I basically just wrote some HTML. It has a style sheet, basically has an, looking at this, it basically has a fixed navigational bar at the top. It has an image bar, and basically it is sharing, and this, basically most of the stuff is coming from the style sheet itself. And then I have some fixed, so check this out. Let's say if I wanted to do something like this. I wanted to add a couple of more. Let's say I wanted to add a couple of more reports into this. So what I can do now is, oh, look at this. I got three more locations now in this mashup that I can actually add more information. So let's drag revenue information in. Oh, I made a mistake. So what you're going to see is I need to name these appropriately. So I'll call this 4, call this 5, call this 6, and then I will do a save all. Now, if I look at this, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to bring revenues by target. And then what I'm going to do is bring, so you can see very quickly, it's very easy to just add different kind of components to this. Let's do amount overdue by client. So I dragged it in. Now what I have is I have 6 reports that I can use up. Let's do a review of this. I just created a website that basically has lots of interactive components. They all interact together. What I haven't done is been able to allow it to do a scroll bar. So if I do this, let's go into Internet Explorer. I need to make sure that the next thing I need to do is on my style sheet, I need to allow it to be able to scroll so I can see all the components there. But you can see very easily that's easily configurable. So what I'll do is I'll share this template with you so you can see how to do a basic mashup using, that looks like a regular website, if you will. So that's the 2 ways to do an embed, doing a mashup using Workbench. Now I want to show you one more thing that I think is kind of cool. It's called, so when you go into the Workbench, that's this location, you can also do this, localhost. What if I just want to take a single component? I don't want to build a website. I don't want to, do all of this work. All I want to do is just take one of the visualizations that I built and put it somewhere. That's all I want to do. So if I look at Salesforce, which is the application I'm looking, I was looking through. You can actually search through the visualizations, even the snapshots. What I'm going to do is look through the visualizations here, and let's say we have sales. Is there a sales one? Is there a top 3? Let's say revenue. Have anything that's there? Let's do win rate. So here's just one component. It's just a single component, and I'm just going localhost 4848 single. And what I can do here is very easily, I can just view it. So here's my link, and notice that it's configurable. I can still play around with it. I can do this, but if I don't want it to be configurable, pretty easy. All you gotta do is turn some of that stuff off. So if I don't want it to be interaction, turn it off. It's still render. Let's say I don't want to animate it. What if I don't want to include the bar section? Do I want to include the bar section or not include the bar section? Let's say I don't want to include the bar section. Notice it's gone. And then if I don't want to animate it. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is let me view it. See? All the functionality is gone. So I was able to use this one little feature called single. I can copy the URL. I can do a paste. I can bring it into any website I want to be able to show a visualization. I could actually even create it in a typical website, where basically you have a HTML link or a URL link, that kind of thing. So it's very, very easily configurable, and you only got one component. Now, there's one more piece that I wanted to show you, which I think is kind of cool. What if you have a data story and you want to embed the data story into something a little bit more unique? So let's go look at that. So if I go into, I go back into my Qlik Sense, and notice that I'm going, instead of what, so let me ask you this. So there's Qlik Sense desktop, it's open, not a problem, still works, no issues there. But the reason I'm going into my URL link is I need to look at this information. So if I go into Salesforce, I need the URLs to be able to embed in my mashups and stuff. So for example, I'm going to localhost 4848 cents. And then what I want to do is I want to go to my data story here, and I want to use this data story. So if I press play, I want to take one screen capture. Let's say I want to take this one. So here is my data story that I would like to embed into a website. Or let's say I want to embed it into, I don't know, like a single pane. So let's do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create new. I'm going to call this sheet. I'm going to use this, say create, and then we'll go back to sheet. And then what I'm going to do is I don't have to do this, but I like to do, this is the anal retentive part of me. I want to make sure the data that I'm using is linked in here, just from a metadata perspective. But notice this, when I go into notice it's just like we were doing before, and I can drag and drop visuals, but I don't want to do that. I want my data story. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and delete this. And I'm going to go iframe. I'm going to go style. And then what I'm going to do is I'm also going to cheat. I'm horrible at remembering code. So I'm going to do is I'm going to go and cheat and steal this pane. And so I'm going to do is paste it here. Now, I don't want to keep the source file. The source link is incorrect. I don't want it. So I'm going to get rid of this. Give me a second. But what I do want to do is I want to take my data story, wherever I put it, and I find where's my data story here? Here it is. I'm going to take that, go back into my mashup, put that there. Now what did I do here? So basically what I did was I created an iframe in this. and save all. I basically put my width as 1,000, my height is 500. Now if I look at the layout, should be able to re-render. There it is. And if I wanted to, I can view this. So now what I've done is I've just embedded a data story into my into a website. And you can see too, now the difference with this one, which is kind of cool, is I'm basically creating I've embedded a sheet into which is part of my data story. So I can actually go back, actually embedded my entire Qlik application, which is kind of cool. But let's say I don't want to do that. Let's say I just want to grab one of these screen captures here. So let's put this here, do a copy, go back in, do a sheet, look up here. I'm going to go steal this. And then paste, save all, and do a view. Let's get rid of this one. Go back. Now I've embedded a data story into a website that I can kind of put anywhere. So that was really all the things that I kind of wanted to show you today, is how to embed your Qlik Sense applications into a Workbench from using Workbench. I wanted to show you how to use the single configurer, so you can take the copy a visualization. Let's say I wanted to, if I get rid of this, if I wanted to use I wanted to use another visualization, so you can take those visualizations, embed them on a website, and be able to use them. And it also gives you a lot of capabilities to kind of show what you can and can't do. So that way you're not just stuck of always starting up Qlik Sense as an application. Now, as you know, if you wanted to be able to embed this on a web server for the public to use, you would have to buy what we call Qlik Sense tokens. Those tokens allow people to be able to authenticate to the application that is sitting there on the web server. But in this situation, we're just rendering it on a local host, which is your local web server, your local web laptop. But that's really all I wanted to share today. I wanted to see if there's any questions from the audience. Apparently there is not. And if that's the case, I think that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to say it's been a lot of fun walking through these different exercises. If you have any questions, feel free to email me directly. As I was saying earlier, if you do want to just post your Qlik Sense application on the cloud, make sure when you share it, when you import it and share it, just put gary.jackson@qlik.com. Send a copy to me, and then I will be able to see it like I've seen Jane's here, and I can go through and review the prototype. So with that being said, I want to thank everyone for being on the call. And if there's any questions or something, just let me know. And good luck with the prototype, and I'll talk to you soon.